r/askreddit. What's the most badass thing you've accidentally said in the heat of the moment? We had overly dramatic neighbor who always claimed she was sick and dying. My mom came to see my kids in the middle of battling stage 4 lung cancer. The neighbor pulled her, "Hi Rita, so glad to see you. Did Jason tell you that I am dying?" My mom looked right at her, smiled and said, "Me too, dear. But not today." Never more proud of her. That's some Walter White shit right there. God bless your mom. This one had a little setup, but I think it's funny enough to share. At a family vacation, my grandmother was giving me grief for not remembering her birthday. I've never been good with birthdays. After telling me it was the password to her iPhone, she wanted me to take a picture with it, which is why I needed the password. While she was distracted, I opened up the settings, changed her password to my birth date, and then set her phone down. 15 minutes later, she's trying to get into her phone and it's not working. Suspecting mischief, she grumpily asks me if I've changed the password to her phone in front of our entire family. I admit that I did. "Well, what is it?" she asked impatiently. "It's my birth date." She sat there in stunned silence for about 15 seconds, not being able to remember my birthday before our family exploded laughing. Was a good time. Biggest reverse guard ever Lamau. When I was a broke college student, a wealthy older lawyer hit my car. No damage to his, but mine was crumpled, and I spent all of my no money at the time keeping it on the road. I was going literally 7 miles per hour in a parking lot and he was entirely at fault. We exchanged insurance info and I had to get a rental car until mine was fixed. He dodged the insurance calls for about 2 weeks, forcing me to pay out of pocket for the rental, about $600, which I definitely didn't have. I knew this guy was an asshole snooty lawyer. My dad is a court attorney, and while I have never used this flex, I finally had to ask my dad to call him and talk some lawyer at him. 15 minutes later I get a call and insurance will go forward. Fast forward like 8 years, I'm bartending at a swanky lounge where a Chamber of Commerce event is going on. Just for local business people to rub elbows and network. This lawyer douche is really feeling himself and charming the room. He orders a glass of wine from me and then stops and says, "Hey, miss, do I know you?" So I came back loudly with, "Well, not really, but you hit my car in a parking lot a few years ago when I was a broke college student and stuck me with the bill. Do you want to open a tab for the wine or close out now?" He did not open a tab. I was the lawyer in this criminal case arising out the Standing Rock events. That morning, some Lakota people had given us this traditional blessing to wish us well for the trial, and there were 5 to 7 activists sitting in the courtroom to watch and support us. It happened that there was a certain digital document that I needed before the jury got back from a break, and we didn't know just when the break would be over. I remember turning to the supporters holding up a thumb drive, and telling them exactly what I needed from the office across the street and how to get it. I held out the thumb drive, and with all the intensity of an ancient general sending his troops into battle said, "Fastest runner. Go now." This tiny little young woman grabbed the thumb drive and hauled ass. She got back before the jury returned. I actually said nothing. I was on my motorcycle in traffic, on a wet overpass with short jersey walls. Guy behind me was driving a bit too fast and slammed on his brakes, sliding into me, but no damage as he was going slow enough to touch and push me about 5 feet before finally coming to a stop. The angle had me going straight forward, so I did not fall. Had it been much faster, I would have been thrown over the edge to my death. So obviously I was not happy. I turned off the engine, got off the bike and slowly walked over to the driver that hit me. It's only a few feet, and when he saw me coming to him, he furiously started raising his manual window. So I could just see him struggling to pump the winder. When I got there, I just knocked on his window, pointed at him, and turned around and walked away. He looked terrified. I didn't think about it until later. A guy you just hit in a car wearing a black helmet, with shaded visor, black heavy thick jacket, black heavy riding pants, roadcrafter jacket and pants, black thick and metal studded gloves, and black leather boots knocks on your window and points at you for being a supreme dumbass. I had no idea, I just wanted to talk to him. Be a bit angry but tell him I was okay, then take a second to verify my bike was okay as well. This was back in my junior year of college. At the beginning of the semester I was introducing myself to my very intimidating biochemistry professor. Guy was a genius but also a hard ass. Students were all terrified to ask him questions because he was known for grilling people, and if they hadn't made enough effort beforehand he'd send them out of his office to learn on their own. As I walked into his office he was sorting through some boxes and made a really sarcastic comment regarding stuffing me in the box and shipping it off somewhere. He looked up for my response and I just blurted out without thinking I wouldn't mind going somewhere nice. Dude laughed so hard it actually startled me a little. We got along pretty well for the remainder of the semester, so it all worked out really well. It's amazing what a little laughter can do to ease tension. He needed that. In another universe, I wouldn't mind going somewhere nice. What the fuck you said? Nothing. Bye sir. About 25 years ago, I was in grade 9 and my parents bought me a pair of Air Max. I'm a female, but I had picked a pair of Air Max that were supposed to be for males because I preferred the color of the shoes. I was super pumped to get those shoes. We didn't have lots of money and it was a pretty extravagant purchase. Anyway, I was at our local shopping center and I ran into a group of guys I went to high school with. They were a real bunch of assholes that thrived on dumping on other people. One of the guys had on the same pair of shoes and said to me, "Do you know you're wearing men's shoes?" To which I quickly replied, "Then why the fuck are you wearing them?" The other guys pissed themselves laughing and it still stands out in my mind after all these years. Man, that was ice cold. I bet his friends still bring that one up. If I was best man at the guy's wedding I'd probably even sneak a reference into the speech. You'd be the soul of the party. At work, when in a somewhat heated discussion of why things kept going wrong at a small company, upper management said something to the effect, "Why does XYZ keep happening? It's idiot-proof," and I replied, "We need to stop hiring new idiots to test if that's true." Edit, so the replies seem split about 50-50 understanding what I meant. I'd like to address a couple replies instead of individually. The context was, please stop trying to find people to actually test if it's idiot-proof. Please hire someone who is not a bigger idiot than the previous hire. That was let go for being an idiot. First, I work in a very small company and all of us are close enough outside of work that this wouldn't get me fired or reprimanded or anything. Second, my point was that we should hire smarter people in instead of any Joe that applied, and then the procedure would be idiot-proof. We just needed a slightly smarter idiot. Thirdly, the Douglas Adams quote is what I had in mind when I said it, but I couldn't remember at the time where I had heard it from. Thanks to those that reminded me. Totally cool insult. I feel the satisfaction although I wasn't there and I don't know you or the whole context. I was the nerdy, 5-foot-tall shy girl, and constantly got paired with struggling/misbehaving kids to help them. On this occasion, it was two popular guys in English class. One was your typical 2000s comic book jock, the other was a class clown who just didn't know when to stop. Together, they unanimously agreed to do shit all. Making fun of our classmates, while I made the world's ugliest word cloud. I failed art class, y'all, so that's no joke. I guess I had an epiphany, because for the first time in my 15 years of life, I decided, fuck this shit, and went to tell the teacher they're being lazy dickheads and I'd rather just do it solo. It took a hot minute before Jokester realized I'd even left. And when he pointed it out, the jock stood up looking ready to hulk out of his lowriders. And the jock said, "What are you tattling on us for? It's not like we've done anything." And I replied, "Yeah, that's kind of the point." And just walked out of the dead silent class. Because I was so used to being bullied I fully expected him to yeet a chair at me. But apparently I just looked like a badass, which is accidental street cred my nerdy ass was 100% eager to roll with.